Envision a scenario where your smartphone refuses to wake up, vehicles cease to move, and no trace of electricity is left. This isn't a tale spun from a science fiction novel, but a plausible outcome of an event called an electromagnetic pulse, an EMP. Imagine a world that smoothly coasted on technology one second and plunged into darkness the next. Lights gone, internet connection severed, refrigeration halted, and even banking services halted. Even the first responders might be rendered helpless. This unseen catastrophe is a loud alarm bell, underlining the critical requirement for education and readiness. The aftermath of an EMP could vary from slight disturbances to devastating breakdowns of our power grid, transportation, medical systems, communication systems, and financial system. It's a cascading failure that could set us back decades, and it's not a question of if, rather when. Yet, remember this point. Knowledge equips you with power. Ascertaining the nature of EMPs and the potential damages they can inflict is the paramount step towards readiness. That's where we come in. This video is your guide, providing you with the knowledge and tactics to shield yourself and your dear ones from the damaging fallout of an EMP event. From constructing a simple Faraday cage to guard your electronics, to stockpiling essential resources and formulating a communication strategy, we're here to walk you through the path of EMP preparedness. So what exactly is this invisible threat? Let's break it down. An EMP is a burst of electromagnetic radiation. It's like a flash flood of energy that can overload and damage electrical and electronic devices. Think of it as a silent lightning bolt, but instead of striking a single point, it blankets an area, potentially as large as a continent. Now, there are 3 types of EMPs we should be aware of. First, there's the nuclear EMP, or NEMP. This is caused by a nuclear explosion high above the Earth's atmosphere. The energy released interacts with the Earth's magnetic field, creating a devastating ripple of electromagnetic energy. Then we have non-nuclear EMPs, or NEMPs. These are man-made devices designed to disrupt electronics without a nuclear detonation. They are localized and less destructive than an NEMP, but still pose a significant threat. Lastly, there's the solar EMP, also known as a geomagnetic storm. This is a natural EMP caused by solar flares that interact with the Earth's magnetic field. It's a reminder that our sun, while life-giving, can also pose a threat. So, what happens if an EMP event occurs? The potential impacts are sobering. First, we could see a complete failure of the power grid. Imagine a blackout, but one that could last months or even years. Communication networks could also break down. No internet, no cell phones. We'd be back in the dark ages, literally and figuratively. Transportation would be severely impacted. Modern vehicles, heavily reliant on electronics, would simply stop working. And it's not just cars. Planes, trains, even some modern bicycles could be affected. Our medical systems too would face catastrophic failure. Life-saving equipment from hospital machines to home medical devices could cease to function. And the economic impact? It's hard to even quantify. Without power, commerce as we know it would grind to a halt. So it's clear an EMP could change everything, but knowledge is power, and that's the first step to preparedness. Now, how can we protect our vital electronics from an EMP event? Your electronics are the lifeblood of your modern existence, and an EMP could leave them lifeless. But fear not. There are ways to shield your devices and keep them functioning even in the face of such a disruptive event. Firstly, let's talk about Faraday cages. Named after the scientist Michael Faraday, these are enclosures used to block electromagnetic fields. They can be as simple as a cardboard box lined with aluminum foil or as complex as a metal safe. The key is to have a complete, unbroken metallic shell that effectively forms a protective barrier against EMPs. Whether you decide to build your own or purchase a ready-made one, a Faraday cage is a crucial part of your EMP preparedness strategy. Moving on to smaller devices like your phones or radios, Faraday bags are a great solution. These are essentially mini Faraday cages that you can easily carry around. Just slide in your device, and it's protected. It's definitely worth investing in a few of these handy bags. EMP shielding is another important strategy. This involves reinforcing your home's wiring and critical equipment with protective materials that can withstand an EMP. While this might seem a bit technical, there are professionals who can help you get it done right. Now, it's not just about protecting your current electronics. It's also about being prepared with a stockpile of essential devices. Radios, flashlights, solar chargers, medical devices. These are all crucial for your post-EMP survival. And don't forget about spare parts. You never know when you might need to make a quick repair. Remember, an EMP event is not the end of the world, but it could be the end of the world as we know it. Your electronics are your lifeline in this new world, so it's crucial to protect them. With these methods, your essential electronics stand a fighting chance against an EMP. In a world without power, alternative energy sources and communication plans become crucial. As we grapple with the potential fallout of an electromagnetic pulse event, it's essential to consider how we'll power our lives and communicate with others. Our modern world runs on electricity, and without it, we'll need to turn to alternative sources of energy. Solar panels and wind turbines are two renewable energy options that can provide power in a post-EMP world. Solar panels convert sunlight into electricity, while wind turbines use the wind's kinetic energy to generate power. Both of these options are sustainable and can provide a lifeline when traditional power sources fail. In addition to renewable energy, battery stockpiling can also be a lifesaver. Having a stockpile of batteries in various sizes can keep essential electronics running. But remember, batteries have a shelf life, so rotate your stockpile regularly to ensure you always have fresh batteries on hand. Manual generators are another great option. These devices convert mechanical energy into electrical energy and can power small appliances or charge batteries. It takes a bit of elbow grease, but in a world without power, a manual generator can be a game changer. Now, let's talk about communication. In a post-EMP world, staying connected with family and community members will be paramount. Having a communication plan in place before an event occurs can make all the difference. Low-tech communication methods like ham radios can be invaluable. These radios can transmit and receive signals over long distances, making them ideal for communicating with others in a world without cell phones or internet. But remember, your communication devices need protection too. Storing them in Faraday cages or bags can shield them from the damaging effects of an EMP, ensuring that they'll be operational when you need them most. In a crisis, communication is key. Staying informed and maintaining contact with others can provide comfort and aid in survival. So start preparing now. Look into alternative power sources, develop a communication plan, and remember to protect your communication devices. Remember, in a crisis, communication is key. With modern transportation knocked out, how can we get around and maintain our homes? That's a question we'll have to answer in a world after an electromagnetic pulse event. When modern conveniences are stripped away, the simplest things become paramount. The ability to move from one place to another, for instance, takes on a whole new significance. In the absence of electronically operated vehicles, an old-fashioned bicycle or even a horse, if you have access to one, could be a lifesaver. It's important to consider maintaining older vehicles that have fewer electronic components, as they could potentially be resistant to EMPs. But transportation is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's talk about home resilience. When the power grid fails, how are you going to keep your house warm, cook your meals, or get a drink of water? You need to think about backup solutions for lighting, heating, and cooking. Wood-burning stoves, kerosene lamps, and manual pumps for water wells can be invaluable resources in a post-EMP world. And of course, we can't forget the importance of emergency supplies. A well-stocked supply of food, water, medical supplies, and manual tools will be your lifeline. Canned goods, grains, and other non-perishables can last for years, and they're easy to store. You'll also want to have a good stock of basic medical supplies like bandages, antiseptics, and over-the-counter medications. Remember, in the event of an EMP, our world will change dramatically. The conveniences we take for granted will disappear, replaced by the need for basic survival skills. But with the right preparation and mindset, we can not only survive, but thrive. In a post-EMP world, self-reliance is the name of the game. So let's get prepared, and remember, the key to survival is not just to endure, but to adapt and overcome. Surviving an EMP is a marathon, not a sprint. Let's discuss long-term strategies. In the face of an electromagnetic pulse, self-sufficiency becomes not just an ideal, but a lifeline. It means reducing our dependence on modern electronics, returning to the basics, and living off the land. This might sound daunting, but it's not impossible. From growing your own food to generating your own power, self-sufficiency is about harnessing the resources around you to create a sustainable lifestyle. Remember, it's not about abandoning technology completely, but rather learning to survive without it if necessary. Now let's talk about skills development. In a post-EMP world, knowing how to find clean water, build a shelter, light a fire, or administer first aid aren't just useful. They're essential. These survival skills are your safety net when all else fails. But don't wait until the lights go out to learn them. Start now. Practice them. Make them second nature. Finally, let's not forget the importance of community preparedness. After an EMP, your local community might be the only society you have. It's crucial to work together, pooling resources and skills. Develop a collective response plan. Who's a medical professional? Who knows how to fix machinery? Who can teach others how to garden? Remember, it's not just about surviving, but thriving, and that's easier to achieve as a collective. In this long game, we're not just preparing for an EMP, we're preparing for a shift in the way we live. It's about resilience, adaptability, and cooperation. It's about learning to rely on ourselves and each other. It's about remembering that our ancestors lived without electricity, and so can we. The journey to self-sufficiency, skills development, and community preparedness isn't easy, but it's worth it. It's about creating a life that can withstand not just an EMP, but any disaster that might come our way. Together we can weather any storm, even an EMP. We've covered a lot of ground today, but the journey to EMP preparedness starts with a single step. We've delved into the invisible threat of electromagnetic pulses, including their types and potential impacts that could range from power grid failure to economic upheaval. We've underscored the importance of knowledge and staying informed about geopolitical tensions and solar weather forecasts. Our journey took us through the protective measures for electronics, from constructing or purchasing a Faraday cage to the benefits of Faraday bags for smaller devices. We've also touched on the critical techniques of EMP shielding for home wiring and essential equipment. We've highlighted the need to stockpile essential electronics like radios, flashlights, solar chargers, and medical devices. We further emphasized the importance of having spare parts and of exploring alternative power sources like solar panels, wind turbines, and manual generators. We've ventured into the realm of communication plans and transportation preparedness, discussing the significance of low-tech communication methods, the use of older vehicles, and alternative methods of transport. We've also explored the resilience of home and community, the importance of having backup solutions, and the value of building a local network for mutual support. We've examined the long-term strategies that involve becoming self-sufficient and reducing dependence on modern electronics. We've stressed the importance of learning and practicing essential survival skills and working with your local community to develop a collective response plan. The journey to EMP preparedness is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires foresight, planning, and consistent effort. But remember, the journey starts with a single step. That step could be as simple as learning more about EMPs, building your first Faraday cage, or starting your stockpile of essential electronics and supplies. Start preparing today, because in the face of an EMP, the prepared will thrive. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more survival tips.